So, what I'm gonna show you guys today, man, it's gonna be, of course, man, it's always gonna be legendary. You know why it's gonna be legendary? Because it's from me. I mean, check it out. The lighting is pretty good, huh? What can I say, man? I'm a little bit, tan though, but they say the darker the berry, the faster it will rot. I was thinking something. All right. So, as you guys, if you were on my live this morning, which you weren't probably, but I'm glad you're on now. But check this out. Remember my hammer? Remember that? Remember the ghetto-looking hammer? Remember I told you guys. My bad. My thing was not on. But anyway, remember I told you guys about my ghetto hammer, right? About how the way I set up my hammer is to show you guys the process of how I mutate certain things, I fuse certain things, right? The process of me creating things, inventing things that people think is absurd, but at the same time, that's because absurdity can lead to results. Absurdity can lead to new way of thinking, new way of enhancing, especially from someone, like myself, maybe Elon, but Elon's a second though, but you get what I'm saying? You get it? Super Saiyan come first. You know what I'm saying? If he's a Super Saiyan like me, then maybe, but he's not, man. He's too well-rounded. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, though, the purpose is that with my mutation, right, with the evil Nix mutation, is based off of this conceptual theory, of conceptual ideas of reimagining concept that was never meant to be a factual anyway. Does that make sense? For example, the E equal MC squared is not, or was not, or is not Einstein's original equation, right? It's a collective work of equation that he derived from someone else, right? But because of his contribution, he got the name for it. But it wasn't his, just like how the Schrodinger equation is at the same time, right? It's all in a scientific community in which it leads to another, one thing leads to another, but the imagining of the concept is a must, right? Because if you can't imagine, reimagine, or elevate, and just accept things as is, then how are we going to elevate or come up with new ideas to, let's say explore space? I mean, Elon's doing a great thing. The point is to reimagine concept idea that was never meant to be a factual, right? So, and the way I look at it is that when I apply my mutation, right? For example, the concept of mutation based off of equation theories, from principle that makes sense to me, if I'm able to comprehend, if I'm able to think, if I'm able to map, if I'm able to illustrate, then I can also hypothesize. If I can hypothesize, I can set up the protocol. If I can set up the protocol, then I can also formulate an experimental trial. If I can formulate an experimental trial, I can also formulate a control system for the scientific method to be applied. Because without that control system to test prior to the experiment, it will not be scientific, right? You see how the mutation process of how I, anyway, protocol that I follow myself applies to my hammer as well. What I would show you guys, right? This morning it was ghetto, right? But even before it was kind of ghetto. It wasn't taped up because I wanted to show you guys how I process, mutate, how I write, how I compose, how I blend Shakespeare, how I'm the first one to actually modify Shakespeare and Poe in one lyrical combo, right? It's because I reimagined. It's because I retook what it is that they built since I was little, right? And built upon that, the evil Nick is a chaotic energy assumption in the idea of a digital vacuum of space in which sounds can operate, right? Because sound cannot operate in space due to the deep vacuum of space with the electromagnetism, right? So in a digital space, frequency can operate. Evil Nick is a chaotic energy. It's not evil. It's a persona of chaotic energy in which the chaos, you see how it requires, if you guys saw before, right? You see how the handlebars, right? This is almost like an open system in a way, right? It's like an open system, right? But at the same time, it also have the closed system as well, right? It matters because when you have a chaotic energy, right? You need to be able to store the chaos or control the chaos, right? Control some form of way, but you cannot tame chaos, right? It's impossible to tame an unknown. It's impossible to tame the chaos, but it's possible to contain chaos. It's possible to control it one way or another within a certain limitation. They call it parameterization, right? But you see how it applied to conceptual, right? Why does that matter? Because it ties into fitness, right? So now when you apply this, when I apply it to fitness, The Super Saiyan. You guys like the Super Saiyan for what reason? Oh, because it's cool, because they fight. You saw them train, right? You saw how Goku, no, you saw how Vegeta trained, right? 500 times gravity, right? You saw how he trained, right? It wasn't easy, right? But he applied the concept of training under gravity. You see that? You see how I'm tying scientific now philosophy to anime, nerd, right? Geek. But I'm the super nerd, I'm the super geek, but I apply the concept, right? So when I apply Vegeta training 500 times gravity, right? Just to be on the level maybe of Goku, right? But he trained so hard. But Goku as well, right? Hey, what's up, hoes? And none? It's all right, man. I'll teach you though, don't worry. But you see how I apply, right? Because I'm a martial arts too. But check this out, right? When I apply martial art, right? This is a 10.2 hammer, in which 9 pounds is at the edge, at the tip. You try a 9 pound and put it 3 feet away from you, and tell me how that will be, right? It's heavy, because the weight is at the end, so it allows for training for control. Because if not, when you swing, you go, oh, right? Oh, right? So now you apply the concept, right? Hold on a second. Don't hang yourself with those beams. It's all right, man. You know why? Because when I hang myself in the beam break. All right, so now when you apply, check this out. See that? But remember, you want to warm up. So you want to warm your rotator cuff, right? This is the pre-workout, right? This is the pre-warm-up. In order for me to show you the next one, right? So let's do 25. Matthew, hey, what's up, bro? All right, so you want to do 25 of Federer, right? So you want to do 25 Federer back hang swing, right? To warm up rotator cuffs, right? 25, write that down, 25. And then you want to do 25 backswing, the Nadal backswing, right? So once you get the Nadal 25 backswing, right? You warm up the rotator cuff well and good. You want to warm up the wrist, right? So now you want to warm up the wrist. You want to do 25 rotation, right? You see how when the weight is at the end, it put the weight there, so that way when you rotate, it allows the blood flow through your arms to your wrists, and you warm that good, right? So you want to do 25 of that, and then you go 25 on this side as well, right? Remember, this is warming up, because if you don't warm up properly, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? That's the truth. So you want to do that, all right? Now you want to do that, you want to do 25 guard, mid guard, like so. But you see how it works my whole arm? Because we're warming up the arm, right? See that? Just like so, for example, 1, 2, see that? 1, 2, switch your leg, right? 1, 2. Set. 2. Now check this out. 25 of that. Once you have that good, right? You can probably do something like, right? You can't though, but I'm too fast. But I'm gonna show you weightlifting, right? So now weightlifting, ready? So you want to work your illusion. I call it the illusion. It gives you the broad shoulder. See that? You see the broad shoulder? You see how it's sticking out like a moon? You see how it's sticking out like a boulder? I'm 146. Just saying. So the first thing you want to switch out to is you want to do the stiff leg. Let's start with stiff leg. 25, right? The stiff leg, we only work the lower back area, which is the lumbar, right? Why? It's to stimulate the blood flow, right? Because the blood flow matters. The blood flow will prevent you from getting injured. You see how I'm able to move, right? 25 of that. And then you want to do 25 shrugs. See that? You see how the striation works already? Because the blood is pumping upward, right? So now you go straight to shrugs. See that? You see how it's not about the weights, guys. Because you're going to do 25, 25, 25, 100 reps. It's superset, right? You see how it works with rotator cuffs? You see how the rotator cuffs need to be warmed up, right? So you do 25 of that, shrugs, and you go straight 25 lateral raise. Up to your chest right here, right? You see how the muscle fiber is ripping up, right? 25, superset. You see that? Look, this is heavy for me too, right? But that's result, guys. Result does not come doing super heavy, right? For power lifter, maybe. And then you want to come back to stiff leg, 25, right? So that's one set. That's 100 repetition, right? Let me show this to you guys. So how many people, for example, how many people scroll? How many people read? How many people search? A lot of people, right? How many people are on YouTube? How many people sugarcoat what is that they do? Add Q&A sticker. What's that? Hold on, forgive me, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Best dipping sauce ever. What the? Okay, who asked that? Yeah, I'll do this later, man. All right. But anyway, what? All right. Best dipping sauce ever. How do I answer that? Wait, is that for me to answer or is it for you guys to answer? Hey, man. Hey, I'm new to this too, man. So, hey, don't leave me for that. Yeah, actually, you can. There you go. All right. But the thing is that there's so much content, or there's so an abundant amount. That is chaos, guys, right? That is chaos, and the chaos is designed to be chaotic because you can't control it. Nobody can control the amount of information is being overloaded. Not even YouTube, not AI, not Facebook, not Instagram. You cannot control it. They're struggling now. But the content, you see how it's built upon, it's because the chaos needs to be controlled. But if you don't have a system to control it, guess what happens? Right? Crazy things happen. And where's my hammer, right? If you have no open system, right, or closed system to control the chaos, to contain the chaos some way or another, it's just gonna go loose. That's how it is, right? But then the people say it's the algorithm, but then the algorithm in itself is like, I don't know myself either. But you see how when you start applying concept, right? The point is that if you're into fitness, right? If you want to get into shape, right? Remember, there's a fine line between a content that's live and a content that's not, right? And the content that's live and posting it, and a content that is not, right? If you see a content that's live, like this one here, right? You should subscribe. You should follow. You know why? Because the next time you see that content, probably a long time, because that is the algorithm, right? Is that by chance you were searching for something, right? By chance you were searching on how to get fit, right? For like 2 weeks. The algorithm noticed that trend and like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna toss this guy in there. Blah. And then you see this humble bot here, like on live showing this stuff, right? And you don't click like or you don't click the follow, guess what happened? Content relating to the live content of this humble bot here, genius, scientific philosopher, right? It's gonna be a hard time until you reset your cashier, right? That's how it works, guys. That's opportunity, right? That's the trend. That's your chaos, right? Remember, it's not the algorithm that decide, right? It's you to decide what is that you go. But if you don't take that opportunity, just like how the man who's stuck in the sea and asked for a boat, right? You see how it works? When the opportunity comes to you in which you are searching for, but then you click away because this person, he's not ripped enough, right? But at the same time, though, that was your opportunity to gain into content relating to, for example, myself, relating to other people that's like myself live, doing stuff like that. That's how the algorithm works, guys. It's not them dictating it's you dictating it. But if you don't take to where it goes, it will take the most probability that you set, that you decide. And that is the trend, guys. It's that the decision has always been yours, right? The decision has always been yours. What I do, here, let me tell you what I do personally. So because I understood the concept, hey, don't snitch on me, all right? I'm from LBC, bro. Don't snitch on me, bro. I'm gonna get you. I'm telling you a secret. Here's what I do. You ready? I don't clear my cache, bro. I don't. I confuse the shit out of the algorithm. You know why? Because I'm chaotic hell, bro. Like, where'd you go? I don't know. But one thing for sure, though, is when I do something, though, I do that rapidly and consistently, right? So if you're determined to be chaotic, so that way the algorithm can't really be, but also influence, you have to be consistent with what it is that you do. If you decide to be chaotic, you have to be consistent with the chaotic and work with the algorithm to see like, oh, this guy's chaotic. You know what? He 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But you see how it works though. It's a collaboration. It's a teamwork of you and the algo. Don't fight the algo. You can't win. You can't. That's a system. You're human. But you could determine where it goes based upon your criteria. Take it into your control by setting you the leader, but at the same time, you have to take the protocol to follow that guideline as well. Because every time you move into a new topic, the algorithm will move to another topic with you. Does that make sense? It's like a role playing of a Super Saiyan, right? If I'm Vegeta, but I'm not. But if I play I'm Vegeta, but I'm not. But if I play, but I'm not. But I could train like one though. I could train like one though, right? Right? See that? I could train like one though. But I'm not Vegeta. That's the algorithm. It trained to be you. It trained to where you go. But not exactly like you because it's a system. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. If not, man, just send me an email. But just remember, when you apply concept in any way, open system or closed system, you need to have a structure. You need to have a protocol. You need to apply. It does not matter if it's absurd because absurdity leads to creativity. And chaos, no one can understand chaos better than me, right? But at the same time, even I don't know where chaos is going to go either, right? But the thing is I apply. When you apply concept to chaos, chaos apply concept upon chaos, guess what happened? Chaos stacks upon chaos. Chaos lead to small stacks of successes and many failed attempts. But at the same time, chaos dictates creativity because during creativity, chaos occur. That is your emotional entropy, I call it. Go read my research, man. But hey, thanks you guys. Hey, thanks Matthew. Thanks. What's the other guy name? He man. A whole none. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Adios. Oh man, I look good. Look it up.